Okay, welcome everybody to the magic you know is possible free Zoom, free talk to the entities taster. And it is May 15th for Australia, May 14th for most of the world, 2024. I'm so glad to have all of you here with us. Oh my gosh, yeah, the entities and all the spirit world is so excited to have you here and to actually start to include them in ways you may have never included them before. So we will take questions if you have questions probably at the end of this call. So again, if there is anything that's up for you, please pop it in the chat, or you can just raise your hand. But we will try and get through as much as possible. And I guess where I wanted to start with this call come about because I really started looking at this topic of talk to the entities. And for those of you that don't know, talk to the entities is an access consciousness specialty topic. It's a specialty class, workshop that you can actually take that is all about including the spirit world in ways many people have never included before. And Marketa and I are facilitators of this topic. And I'm in a number of different community threads in the Sunshine Coast, Australia, where I live. And most people that are writing in there that have questions about entities, it's always coming from this place of fear. And that's literally what we're taught in this reality. We're taught that entities are something to fear, that they're out to get you, that they have power over you. And it's something that you should dismiss, something that you should reject, particularly if you have capacities with them or see them, and something that you should pretend not exists or not talk about. And so many people in those threads that comment are always about make sure you protect yourself, make sure you get them cleared straight away, make sure you make sure that they leave your house. And this kind of brought up so much for me because being a Talk to the Entities facilitator, it's this education on awareness, it's this education on inclusion, on the spirits that no one has really ever been taught before, including me until I got to these classes. And for me, what I've noticed with including these tools in my life and actually beginning to include the spirit world in my life, the only thing that is shown up is this infinite miraculous and infinite magic. And so much more of me, so much more of my greatness, so much more awareness. I now know how to actually trust myself. The entities have taught me how to receive, and my life is so much greater because of these tools. So we wanted to have a conversation and invite you to the magic that you actually know is possible as well through the inclusion of the spirit world. That is something that doesn't seem like it often connects, particularly in this reality when we're taught that there's something to fear and something to reject. And a lot of that is actually just portrayed on movies. Like if you watch any movies, you see a lot of people spirits in the movies, or ghosts that some people like to call it. And, they often talk about it's something that you should be scared of. And what if it's not? What if there are so many beings? What if there are so many entities that actually desire to play with you, that desire to contribute to you, that desire to facilitate you to greater consciousness and gift you everything you've ever been asking for? But that actually begins with you getting out of fear and actually being re-educated on what the spirit world is and what you can actually do with it.
I love it. And I always say that Talk to the Entities classes are like being you changing the world from another, like opposite way. Because and people are asking me, as you said, so many people are like looking at this topic from the side of fear. And they're asking me, like, why should I even like consider to talk to the entities? Like, tell me why. And I'm like, because it's so much fun. And if you have a capacity with the entity world, like you don't have any button to press it and to switch it off because it's part of your being. It's called being you, changing the world. It's like it's included in being you. It's your capacity, and it's amazing. And it's just interesting to see how many people in this world are not taught to use these capacities into their advantage and into creation of their life. And what I truly love about cooperation with Ashlee and about co-facilitation with Ashlee is the willingness to create from the space of magic, miracles, possibilities, without knowing how. And I'm so happy to find another crazy person because the most of time when I talk to people about creating from the space of magic, they think I'm totally crazy because I so often don't know how. They ask me, how did you do that? How? And I'm like, look, I have no clue. I know I managed these things, but if you ask me how, I don't have answer for you. I just know I always perceive something. And with Ashlee, we both have, and I'm sure you do have it as well, if you start to listen. And that's why we called, well, we will have 3-part series that is actually following this call. And it's about listening to whispers of creation. And as Ashlee said, like for so many people, the world of entities is about dead people, ancestors, and so many other beings. And it's true, but it's not just that. It's like really allowing to everything to talk to you and like to have this magical world of possibilities. And I always say, like, I'm not creating anything. I just listen. And it's talking by itself. It's just popping. Hey, I desire to be created. And hey, I desire to be created. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like this all desire to be created. That is amazing. And I don't know about you guys, but like I'm living in a world where everything is talking to me. And when I speak about that, so many people tell me, you too? I know, me too, but I feel so crazy. I'm like, this is not crazy. This is normal. And I desire a world where when somebody tells you, I don't speak with trees. I don't talk to trees. I desire a world where you say, are you normal not to talking to trees and everything? Like, how do you do that? Not to do that. So for me, this is something like so funny and fun. And I also would love to tell you one story because this is so funny to me. I have one table, like conference table, you know, like in living room. And I bought it like 7 years ago when we moved to our new house, the smaller one before this one. And it's just a regular conference table, you know? And after 7 years being with us, this table decided to create its life. And I had to laugh so much because this table appeared at the stage of global foundation between Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here. And like out of sudden they asked me, do you have any kind of table that we can put on the stage where we can put the big flower and it can hold it? And I was like, I'm sure you don't want this table, but I will send you the picture. And they were like, this table is perfect. And after Global Foundation, this table went to my friend. And now it's doing its job at house of my friend that is having classes. And you know what, like for so many people, this is ridiculous. But for me, this is the world I'm living in. I'm like, oh my God, this table is creating its life. And I'm like, if table can create its life, then don't tell me you can't. And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all? And everywhere you decided that all these things doesn't talk to you, but because it's not alive. But it does, because it's made out of the molecules and the space, and each molecule in the universe has its own consciousness. And it means that you can talk to anything. And it's like communication. And what I really love, Shirin O'Hara, the founder of Talk to the Entities, she said, like, people talk, the trees communicate. And I'm like, yeah, like we communicate. We don't need to talk. And also during one class, it was 6 days at Alugar with Gary Douglas and Dr. Lane here. I had this, like, I was like, this is the most stupid question I can ask, and I will ask it. I will ask it anyway. And I asked, why do we talk? Why do we use the language? Why do we even talk? And Gary was like, because like the most of people use it, but we don't need to talk. We can just communicate. So even here on this Zoom, we all are communicating, and there are so many energies involved here with us, communicating, cooperating, desiring to be included. And as Ashlee did the exercise at the beginning of this call, they got more included. So they could kind of calm down, relaxed with us, and like contribute even more. So my question is, what is the world of entities for you? And what energies it brings, like when we speak about it? And please ask yourself, is that even true for you, everything you bought about this topic? Because as Ashlee said, we bought so many things that are so heavy and so not true for us. So would you be willing to ask, what is this world about for you? And what kind of magic, like, can this receiving bring to your life?
Hey, sorry, I have a question. Could you slow down a little bit because it's crazy fast from the beginning? Thank you.
I am sorry. Sorry, translators. I am translating too, and I so don't like when somebody is talking too fast. So yes, sorry guys. I will promise.
So I guess where I would love to go with this is for you guys to recognize that this whole idea of the magic you know is possible is only available when you start to include all energies. And like Marketa was saying, everything communicates with you. Everything in the entire world has consciousness in it. And what's going to be required of you is to start including yourself in ways you've never included yourself before. So when we talk about entities, an entity is just an energy that's defined. So everything in this world is actually an entity. When we talk about entities in the Talk to the Entity classes, we're talking about ghosts or spirits. But I want you to start, while you're listening to this call, expanding your world and acknowledging that everything that, like every energy that's defined, is actually an entity. So that means your business is an entity, your body is an entity, your bank account is an entity, your relationship, any relationship you're in with somebody else has its own entity. There is an entity of that relationship. And when I did my first Talk to the Entity class, the facilitator actually said, the way you treat entities will actually be reflected in the way that you treat yourself. How do you all treat the spirit world or treat entities? And this is something for you to all reflect on. Like, what is that? You can pop it in the chat if you want. But how do you actually treat entities? Do you ignore them? Do you dismiss them? Do you reject them? Do you believe that they don't really exist or that you're going crazy? And then turn that back. Is that actually how you treat yourself? Because when I did my very first Talk to the Entity classes, when the facilitator said this, I was like, wow, I'm actually ignoring and dismissing myself because I'm ignoring and dismissing entities. And how much am I making the entities? Well, really, again, just looking at that, it's like and just like Susie said, I ignore them and reject them. So how much are you ignoring and rejecting you? And this is where you have to start to look at the way you treat you is literally the way you treat everything around you. So everything, all of that is, and that brings up for all of you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, or name, shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. And for those of you that don't know, that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information, but that is like a magic wand that clears and transforms all energies that are up for you. So look at that. If you are ignoring and rejecting spirits or ghosts, if that's what you want to call them, then how much of you are you ignoring and rejecting? And how much of everything else outside of you are you actually ignoring and rejecting? Everything that desires to contribute to you. And the universe is also actually an entity. It's an energy that's defined. And what if this conversation was actually an invitation for all of you to get out of the how? To get out of how to figure out everything, all of these things that you desire in your life. It's not your job to figure out the how. And what if you could truly step into this space of magic that's available? And that is only possible when you start to include all entities and all energies. Because if you're not including all energies or all entities, including the universe, can it actually gift to you? Yes or no? And what infinite care does the universe, does all entities desire to be for you that you've been ignoring? So everything that is times a gazillion, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, poet, poc, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. So what kindness and care and nurturing do the entities actually desire to be for you? That actually desire to invite you to, that you've been ignoring, rejecting, and dismissing? And would you allow yourself to melt into that space now, please? The kindness and care of all things, beyond the fear, beyond the rejection, beyond the judgment. Who and what actually desires to give to you? And would you be willing to begin to receive that now? And when I say, would you begin to be willing to receive that now? Receiving that is even just being open to the possibility that there is something far bigger than you that desires to give to you. And what are you using fear to prove? Or what are you using fear to reject? And everything that is as well. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds.
And it is so beautiful to see, like each time when people are using fear, like in this case with entities, it's so beautiful to see what it's beyond all of that, if they are willing to go there. Because the fear is not true. It's just a distractor implant, as we say in Access Consciousness. So you can just say, put and poke, all the fear I am using here. Because like if you don't use the fear, then you can really go into your knowing and your potency and power you truly be, and you can really relax. So everywhere you decided that you will get more by using fear, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, book and pop, all nine, shorts, boys, what's and beyond. So anytime, because it's your choice to use the fear. It's your choice to use the fear and to do the fear, or to choose your consciousness, your awareness, your greatness, and your power and potency. So would you be willing to ask what is beyond that? And what I truly love also about classes, Talk to the Entities, we use and like we do a lot of clearings about the fear. And it's not clearing just the fear from the entities. It's clearing the fear from your life. So in what kind of areas of your life are you using fear that is not even true? that if you don't use this invention, actually, that is not true for us. What would be beyond that? What greatness, power, and potency is waiting for you there? And would you be willing to choose it? And like entities and the world of entities is a great invitation to your true power and potency you truly be, that you try to avoid so much. And sometimes, especially your bodies, are trying to give you so many information about all the energies around you that you try to avoid or refuse or ignore. So, like, so often people are coming with kind of body problems. That is not a problem at all, because like your body is entity as well, and your body desires to communicate with you the awareness, and your body has its own awareness. And so often, like, it desires to give you the awareness also about the entity world around you. So would you be willing to relax even more, put the barriers down, and relax even more? And be just aware of all the energies around you. And would you be willing to be present right now during this call, in this space, with your body and with all the informations, sensations that your body is trying to give you? And everything that doesn't allow that, and everything that doesn't allow you to relax even more, will you destroy and uncreate all? Right, wrong, budeme pokemon po najčo boys, and beyond. And like, the true receiving cannot come from your mind. You have to really relax your mind, and fear is kind of your mind. So if you truly desire to receive, you have to relax your mind, your body, because like, if you think, it's a barrier too. So how often are you trying to thinking into magic instead of relax and being the magic you truly be? And everything that doesn't allow you, all of that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good and bad, Pokémon, online, short spoils, poets and beyond.
And Deb says, yeah, the more you love yourself, you'll find it easier to connect with all the entities around you. And that's actually true, because like I said, everything is a reflection of you. So if you actually begin to like yourself enough to be willing to have it easy, to be willing to receive magic, to be willing for others to actually contribute to you, then you will naturally start to receive even more, because you're receiving more of yourself. And this really is key for all of this magic. I say to people in the Talk to Auntie classes, you come to these classes thinking it's all about ghosts, and you realize it's actually all about you. And you realize you change your entire relationship with yourself in these classes through accessing greater knowing, accessing greater receiving, accessing greater perceiving, because we begin to do these exercises where you start to really perceive what's actually around you, what's always been there walking with you. And you start to gain access to more of yourself. And this is what Marketa was talking about, is this is where it begins. When you start to like yourself more, you naturally begin to be willing to receive more kindness around you. And when we talk about the spirit world is as big as the plant or the animal kingdoms, but it is very largely uncharted. And there are very micro beings to the very macro beings. There are micro beings that actually live in the soil and actually contribute to earth health, to soil health. There are macro beings that are called the beings of light, or the light beings, that are about 9 foot plus tall, and they work and walk along with us on this earth to facilitate greater consciousness. And when people think of entities, they just often think of people entities or ghosts that you see in movies. But there are everything in between. There are drug and alcohol entities. There are entities with PTSD. There are, like I said, there are nature spirits. There are fairies. There are literally so many different entities, and we're not educated on this. And they are here with us and walk with us independent of our point of view. Whether you believe or not, they still exist. They are here. And how many of you are on this call? You know something else is possible. You know that we are also a spirit, but are just embodied. But you still kind of have this doubt, like, do they exist? Am I going crazy? Am I hearing something? Am I seeing something? And I can guarantee if you're here, you actually have a capacity with the spirit world. If you did not have a capacity with the spirit world, you would not be here. And if that just made you happy, it's because it's true. And if you have a capacity with the spirit world, now what's actually possible? But you have to begin to acknowledge this. This starts with acknowledging, I do have a capacity with the spirit world. In fact, guess what? I am a spirit myself. And this is where Talk to the Entities was, like, for me, the greatest relationship class and self-love class I've ever taken, because guess what? You are an embodied entity. What you call ghosts or spirits are just disembodied entities, as in they don't have a body. There is no separation between us and them, but the barriers we place around them. Once we leave our body, once we choose to leave our body, we will hand ourselves back to living in the spirit realm until we take another body. So the really cool thing is you can begin to teach yourself how to access and receive more of yourself through the willingness to receive all those beings that exist around you, including the universe that actually desires to give to you. And guess why you wouldn't actually receive from entities? Because you don't believe you're valuable enough to be gifted to. So everything that is times a gazillion. And anyway you've decided you are not valuable enough to actually be gifted to, and to actually receive all of this magic that's available to you. Will you destroy and uncreate, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all names, shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. And the cool thing is I've noticed this direct connection between the willingness to receive more of myself, which then has opened me up to all of the magic that's available. And by magic, I mean, we could sit here and tell stories for literally days, but magic is getting discounts of things. Magic is when, and I said this on my last podcast, when my partner and I were flying back from Melbourne and we hadn't bought an extra bag, like luggage, checked in bag, and it just appeared on the lady's screen when we went back and spoke to her. And then it disappeared again, literally 5 minutes later. So this is the magic that's actually available to us when you're truly willing to include all, when you're truly willing to go, I'm a gift, I have value. Like, what can I actually create? And that's not possible until you actually include the spirit world, because if you're not including the spirit world, you're not including anything. Because if you put up barriers, even if that's based on fear, if you put up barriers to protect you from ghosts, you put up barriers to everything. You put up barriers to receiving your business, your body, relationships, people in your life that desire to contribute, and the universe. So all those barriers that you're using to reject, dismiss, and refuse the gifts that are always being given, will you push those down now, please, and just join and create them? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all names, shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. And I'll just answer this question quickly as well. Martin says, how do you protect yourself from evil entities who just want to use and discard human beings? The greatest protection is awareness. And this is where we're taught in this reality that the greatest protection is barriers. But guess what? When we put up barriers, we reject everything. And it's funny because then people go, I'm asking for more money and it's not showing up. And I'm like, yeah, but how many barriers are you using to just protect you from life? Money can't come to you then because you've got a barrier up to it. You've literally got this physical thing between everything you're asking for and yourself. So the greatest protection is actually awareness. And let me give you an example of this. When we talk about entities, there are also such things as demons, and they exist, and their job is to basically, destroy. That was the job that they were given when they were brought from a different planet to planet Earth. I have a capacity with demons. Demons exist, and they actually, there's different signs and symptoms for basically demon awareness. Now, my demon awareness is, and oftentimes for a lot of people, if you judge yourself a lot, or you have like quite dark thoughts about yourself, or you say really mean things to you, and you're using like a lot of tools and you can't seem to get out of it, or you catch yourself saying, what's the point of this? Or that you don't want to be here anymore, they can often be demon awareness. So when I lived in Melbourne a long time ago, well, 7 or 8 years ago now, I didn't realize I had a capacity with demons. And there's a lot of demons that actually are present in Melbourne, Australia. And when I was in Melbourne, I was in a really, really dark place. I judged myself a lot. I hated my body. I just wanted to literally leave the planet. And nothing I did got me actually out of this place. And then when I moved to Queensland, Australia, all of that changed quite rapidly as well. A lot of my entity signs and symptoms disappeared that I wasn't aware were entity signs and symptoms at that time. And what I started to recognize is this thing about demons is they can have no power over you unless you let them. Demons literally can't kill you at all. However, if you believe that every single thought in your head actually belongs to you, then that's how they get to you. Meaning they're constantly whispering these judgments to you. You're not enough, you're this, you're that. And if you buy that every single thought that you have belongs to you, then that's how they can begin to destroy you. So, but they can't touch you unless you literally buy everything they say about you. And you're the one that actually begins to destroy yourself through the choices that you're making. So when we say the greatest protection is awareness, is you have to start being re-educated on the fact that so much of the stuff that you think, that you feel, is not actually yours. But the thing is, we're disempowered. We're not educated that we are aware. I grew up believing that I wasn't aware, that I wasn't intuitive, that I didn't know. Yet I walked this world for the first 28 years of my life with like severe anxiety and severe depression, thinking that that was me. But that was actually my awareness of the spirit world. Because all those thoughts in my head was all of these entities around me constantly trying to get my attention and communicate with me. So this is where this is an entire re-education on awareness. And I'd really invite you all to start asking yourself, okay, how does my spirit awareness show up for me? Because this is the only reason they can have any effect over you is when you are not aware or do not acknowledge how it shows up. Because like I said, they are real, whether you want to believe it or not. And anti-awareness shows up either physically or psychologically. Psychologically, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of bipolar, psychosis, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder is awareness of entities. And then physical symptoms can be anything. Rashes, itchy eyes, flu-like symptoms, coughing, sore ears. What has gone on with you and your body for as long as you remember that you haven't been able to change, that may actually be a sign of entity awareness. So everything that doesn't allow you to truly begin to be, know, perceive, and receive how your entity awareness shows up, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate everything that doesn't allow it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, ornane, shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds.
And also, if you truly desire like your capacities with entities to work for you and into your advantage, you have to be willing to be the source. Because like how many people are willing to talk to entities because they have some kind of agenda that they will help them with something or they will take care of some part of their life. So like if you have capacities with entities and you would love them to work like these capacities into your advantage, you have to truly be the source of creation of your life. And it's not about needing entities. It's about receiving the contribution. And as such, as Ashlee was talking about demons, it's just a kind of entity. It's not anything like more powerful or more significant. It's just a working entity that got the job to truly destroy us so that we don't create life we desire to create, so that we don't live life in joy, fun, and like exuberance, and like they don't desire us to be so joyful as we can be. So if you would love to, like, if you don't desire to have these energies in your life, you really have to choose kindness. You really have to choose what's joyful for you. And I always say, like, it's the same as with people in your life. You are choosing people in your life. You are choosing who will be around you in your life. And it is the same with the energies in your life, with entities. And when you are willing to be the source of your life and you really own that you create everything, you also create the energies around you. And also, it's not about being blind. It's not about like saying, no, I will just cooperate with spirits of the earth and beings of light, and then I will not be aware of demons and other entities that don't desire to contribute to me. No, it's like to include and receive, it's to include like all the energies. It's about being aware of all the energies. And also, as Ashlee was mentioning, all these energies in Melbourne, like how often and how much people are using like demons and all these like really energies to control others. So we are not educated on these energies, but how many of you were kind of living with them all the time when your parents were arguing, controlling one each other, So what I realize is that like these energies are quite common in this reality. We just didn't get the information. What is this? And like when you get the information and you start to be aware of all these energies, then you don't need to be like under the influence of them. And this is what I really like adore about all these empowering tools, talk to the entities. I can be aware of somebody having all these energies around and really using them to control others, to I don't know what. I can be just aware of that because I already know like how my body tells me all this stuff, and this is awareness. It's not mine. And when you acknowledge your awareness, as Ashlee said, you can have really ease with all the energies. And you can have even fun with all the energies. You can have even fun with somebody that is like choosing demons and trying to use them to control you. Because when you acknowledge what you are aware of, and when you are being space, and when you are being you, the lightness you truly be, they can't touch you. They can't do anything to you. So would you be willing to be the vibration of joy, ease, and like the lightness you truly be, so that these energies even don't desire to come close to you? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And when you are willing to be the boss of all the energies, and there is somebody coming to your house, and you know, okay, they are using these energies, you stay outside, these people come in, and when they go out of my house, you can grab them and go with them to your home. But you know, it's the willingness not to be under the influence of these energies, because they are not more powerful than you are. You might make them more powerful, but they are not. And this is something that empowered me so much, that I can be aware of everything. And it is my choice what kind of energies I desire to be surrounded by in my life. And for me, it's the same with people. I'm choosing people for my life. I'm choosing the energies for my life. And the others can choose whatever they desire to choose. And it's not about judging it. Because if somebody is choosing to be surrounded by demons, they are not wrong for that. It's just their choice. You know? So how often you are judging these energies? But what are creating judgments? More of these energies. So would you be willing to just be aware without any point of view? And when you acknowledge your awareness, you set yourself free, because you know, and you don't have to be under the influence of all of that.
And what was coming up for me when you were talking, particularly with this idea of like magic and being gifted to, was we're brought up in this reality to be suspicious. Like, how many of you like even meet someone kind and you're like, go straight to suspicion? What do they want from me? Particularly if it's like a man or a woman or someone in like in the romantic space. And I see this happen with entities all the time. Again, like everything is a direct reflection of like how you're functioning from within. And I did an Access Buzz class last weekend, and the lady that like one of the ladies that chose it had a massive capacity with entities, and she'd never been educated on what they were or how to deal with them or how to work with them, or that they even desired to give to you. Like she was stuck in that place of they're only out to get you. And she said she was really annoyed, and she was like, but you know, okay, that's fine that they're there, but why do they have to wake me up at nighttime? Like they're so annoying. I'd like to sleep, please. And I'm like, it's not that entity activity increases at nighttime. And this is like a massive thing that people believe. The entity activity at nighttime only becomes more apparent to you because you're more relaxed, you're more out of your head, and you're more willing to receive. There are just as many entities hanging around during the day as there are at nighttime. Just at nighttime, you're more willing to receive. And I said to her, and you've already decided that they're there to annoy you. Some of them are, yes. But I was like, you know how you've been asking for more money? I'm like, here are these beings that can't get through to you during the day. And so at nighttime, they wake you up because you're more willing to receive them. And they go, hey, there's this thing that I'd really love to contribute to you. You know how you've been asking for more money? I'm here. I'd love to be of service. I'd love to be of contribution. Here you go. And they're literally like knocking at the door, and you're like, oh my God, they're so annoying. Why won't they just leave? And we totally in that moment dismiss and reject the magic that is available to all of us at all times with total ease. You want to stop making everything hard. You want to get out of force and effort and hard work, and you want to receive magic. You're going to have to start acknowledging everything and everyone that has always been there for you. And through that, you've got to start actually recognizing that you are the gift, that you are worth gifting to. Because if you don't, you will constantly reject all of these entities that are here for you. So what if you started looking from that space of, I guess all of this begins with acknowledging that you are aware. That if you are here, you have a capacity with entities. That they exist, whether you believe in them or not. And then the ease of all this will begin to lie with you acknowledging what your entity awareness actually is. So start by asking, like I said, what is my entity signs and symptoms? Universe, can you actually show me? Now, if you ask the universe to show you, also remember that you asked the universe to show you, because it will, but that means you might have more intensity showing up in your life over the next week. You might have certain pains in your body show up more. You might have something psychological go on with you. I just mean that you might, feel like a little bit, if one of your demon or entity awarenesses is like what you call depression, which mine was, you might start to notice like over a day or over a period that you start feeling like more low than usual. Please remember that you've asked the universe to show you. Anytime you are not feeling light, not feeling joyful, not feeling expansive, you are literally not being you. Because the ease, the joy, the lightness is your natural state of being. That is you. Nothing else other than that is you. The heaviness, the density, the contraction, the intensity, the pain, the suffering, the sadness, the dis-ease, not you. That is your infinite awareness. So anytime you are out of that space of joy, of ease, of lightness, you want to ask, okay, what am I aware of? Is this an entity or demon? That's where it starts. The question, is this an entity or demon? Yes or no? And then you can ask, okay, do they decide to gift something to me or take something from me? Because just these simple questions are going to get you to start having the awareness of what they're there for. And it will start contributing to you stopping yourself from dismissing the gifts that are actually being given. Because if there's an entity that's hanging around you that you've decided is annoying, or it's showing up as like itchy skin or sore eyes or fatigue, and you call it fatigue or you call it itchy eyes, then you've just dismissed the gifts that are being given. Because you've decided that it's that, you haven't been able to receive what's actually there for you. So it starts with question. And I would love to be able to go into like telling you everything I could possibly tell you about the spirit world, but that's what we get to in the Talk to the NT classes. Like that's what we expand on, is the how to do all of this. But I wanted to, like Marketa and I wanted to kind of gift you this awareness that fear is not real. And what if the fear that you're using, that you've been taught to function from, is actually stopping you from receiving the magic that is infinitely available to you? And like I wrote on one of my posts in the email I sent out, this inclusion of the spirit world, which means the inclusion of all energies, the inclusion of all entities, including the universe, has gifted me my incredible new partner, the way I function in business, the classes that I create, the money that shows up into my bank account as if by magic, because I'm now willing to receive. I'm no longer deciding that it's my job to figure out the how. It's never your job. It's the universe's. It's actually the entities. It's your job to ask and receive. So Emma says, what can you ask if you get a yes on they desire to take something from you? This is where, again, the awareness is the greatest protection, but you have to acknowledge that just by you saying, hey, that doesn't work for me, is sometimes enough. So just like you have to start looking at entities as if they're people. particularly if you're dealing with people entities, right? When we choose to leave our body, we have many options, but often we can choose to hang around on this plane because you've decided the image of you is more valid than infinite choice, meaning that you're a mother, a daughter, a son, a husband, a grandma, that you work in this job. So if you're more committed to that image of you and not letting that go, that's when you hang around on this plane. And they're usually the entities or ghosts that people speak about when they see things. It's often the people entities that have left their body that are kind of stuck in this realm. When you choose to leave your body as a person, like as a people entity, you literally take everything with you. You take the same points of view, you take your same attitudes, you take everything, the same level of consciousness. The greatest lie is that entities are more conscious than we are. It is 100% not true. If Aunt Betty was a bitch when she was alive, she's going to be a bitch as a ghost. If Uncle Bob was annoying as a person, he's going to be super annoying as a ghost. Same. They have no extra power over you. So if Aunt Betty rocked up at your door and she wanted to take something from you and was being a bitch, guess what? You can go, no, that doesn't work for me. You have to leave. No different. You have to stop giving them power over you. You have to stop believing because you can't see them, if you can't see them, that they somehow have access to infinite consciousness and these magic tools that can destroy you. None of that is true. So if you haven't done a Talk to the Entities class, the easiest thing I would say to you to do is actually just treat them like you would anybody else. Just like at the start of this call, when I said, like just before this call, I was almost not going to be able to show up because I was like, I'm about to vomit. I'm so dizzy. I'm not functioning right now. My awareness was that it was all of the entities that were excited, but because all of you have chosen this and are in all different countries in the world, we are reaching literally across the entire world, which means we're changing stuff with entities just by having this call. And so I become aware of all of these entities and all of these demons that did not want that to happen. But guess what? I just went, it's happening. So I had to breathe. We did that exercise. I told them to move back. And I was like, not happening. This is going ahead. And this is why these Talk to the Entity classes and starting to, whether you do a class or not, but when you start to include the spirit world, you've just included you more. You've just found your voice by saying, that doesn't work for me. You've then just stepped into your infinite power and potential and your infinite potency. And guess what? That then starts showing up in every single area of your life. You start receiving the kindness entities desire to be for you, the nurturing they desire to be for you, the gifts that they desire to gift you. Guess what? The people in your life completely change. They either go away or they start actually being kind and they start being nurturing. So this is where, for me, Talk to Entities has been the greatest invitation to change literally every area of my life through practicing with the entities. Through claiming what I infinitely know. So everything that doesn't allow you to include you in ways you've never been willing to include you before, you destroy and create all of that times a gazillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, or name shorts, boys, prophets, and beyonds.
And the world of entities is so often showing you what you are not willing to be with people, with bodies. So it's also amazing to see that. And as Ashlee said, would you be willing to honor entities? And sometimes we are really so cute and not bright, even though we have these tools. And I remember one time I was facilitating foundation class in this beautiful, beautiful, like it was kind of monastery. And when I went to sleep, there were like really nice rooms. And when I went to sleep, there were two beds. And like on the other bed, I perceived a man. And I wanted to go to sleep. It was after the first day of foundation class. I told him, hey, honey, I worked like enough today. Come tomorrow. And he did. The next day, I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything today. Come tomorrow. But then it was the last night before I was leaving the place. And he was literally knocking on my shoulder like 6 times per night. In the morning, when I didn't sleep all the night, I was like, okay, so what do you want from me? And he was like, I would love to tell you something. Then I'm here to give to you, and then I can go. And it took me 3 seconds. It took me 3 seconds to do all of that with this man entity. And from this kind of like bothering, annoying energy, it transformed into huge space and energy of gratitude for me and for having conversation with him for 3 seconds. And then he left. And I was sitting on my bed, I was laughing at myself, and I was like, so honey, you chose like to postpone it 3 times. And he was so kind to wait until the last night. But he really was like in the urgent situation. He didn't have choice because he knew you will leave. So he was knocking on your shoulder, and I was like, oh my God. So instead of like really being here with him for 3 seconds, I chose not to sleep all night long. And I really was like, what would I choose next time? I would choose to honor him because he was kind, and like this energy of gratitude that I could perceive after these 3 seconds, it was huge. So where are you like not honoring entities that came as your client because they know you can help them? They're willing to pay, they're willing to honor you, but you're not willing to honor them. So everything that is really destroy and uncreate it all, right, wrong, good, and about all 9 shorts, boys, splits, and beyond. And during the Talk to the Entities classes, we also speak about these business hours, so that you can set up the business hours during the day, once a week, twice a week, whatever works for you, so that you can say, hello, I can see you, how are you? But please, now I'm sleeping, come Wednesday, 10 a.m., it's my business hours, I'm taking entities as clients, and I will honor you, I will have session with you, we can talk about anything. So for me, entities are really like clients. They are just not having bodies. And if you ask a client to come like Wednesday at 10 and you forget about them and they are waiting 1 hour, 2 hours in front of your doors, would they be really angry? So it's the same with entities. So I'm like, if you can't see them with your eyes, it doesn't mean they don't exist and you don't honor them. So we are really sometimes like funny, even if you have these tools, sometimes you forget because it's not like you don't see it like that much, but it's being so present. So this was my funny story with this man, and I was not totally honoring him, and I had to acknowledge that.
Mm. And that's all the places that we are dismissing the magic. And there's not an like follow this path and this will do this. Like I hope this conversation has invited you all to acknowledge the magic that you know is possible, that is available to you, that you're going to have to start including everything in order to actually receive. Because like I guess the biggest part of all of this, like I said, is the way you treat yourself will be the way that you treat entities. If you do not honor you, you will not honor entities. If you do not have gratitude for you, you will not have gratitude for entities. So what if this is a massive invitation for you to actually start receiving more of the gift of you? And if you don't know how to do that, which I didn't when I began this journey of like, how do I even like myself? Like, how do I stop judging myself? The entities taught me that because I started being willing to receive the gifts they desired to gift me, and even receive the messages they desired to gift me, which 2 days ago, one of them said to me, stop playing mediocre. There's nothing mediocre about you. Like, never choose mediocre again. And I'm like, what? So it's like you can constantly be receiving these messages from entities. That is not significant. You don't have to make it relevant, but there are literally infinite beings that desire to play with you, walk with you on this planet, and desire to gift you. Just because they don't have bodies doesn't mean they're not your friends. And we have an entire team of entities, your spirit team, your teammates, that actually walk with you every single lifetime. They are with you, one of them, two of them, maybe 10 of them. We all have a different amount of teammates that walk with us that are literally just there for you, that are literally just there to gift and contribute to you. If you don't acknowledge them, and if you haven't acknowledged them until now, or even recognized that they existed, you've just literally been ignoring your friends that have been with you every lifetime, which is more than people for every single lifetime you've lived. And you actually look like a spirit to them as well. So this is where it's like, this is the magic that's available to us. It's always been available to us. But would you be willing to start allowing entities to show you the gift that you are? Because you're a gift to them. You've always been a gift to them. And half of my friends don't have bodies. Half of my friends have bodies, but half of my friends don't have bodies. Does that make me weird or crazy? Or does that just make me like, I feel like that makes me normal from where I come from. But people are constantly asking me, like, how do you have so much ease in your business? And how have you been able to quit your nursing job and still be like, you know, still have a business running 5 years later? And it seems like you do nothing. I'm like, yeah, I do nothing. I just receive the gifts that are constantly being given. I listen to the whispers, and I'm willing to include entities and energies in ways most people are not willing to include. So, and yeah, Rachel said, I've been doing exhaustion for 25 years, but what if it's really a gift offering? Literally, it can be that simple. You can have a particular entity or teammates that have been desiring to constantly gift to you every time you ask. And the exhaustion, the reason why you have the stuff going with your body physically, or you have stuff going on psychologically, is because your body is just literally an antenna. Your body's job is to constantly be gifting you information about the world around you to try and get you to greater consciousness. The body is actually a key to consciousness. It is the key to consciousness. So you start tapping into your body and actually questioning everything that shows up with it, rather than deciding, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. But you ask a different question. Okay, what is this? Is this actually entities or demons? Then what would change? Because I had what seemed like chronic fatigue for the 6 or 7 years I lived in Melbourne, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse, as well as my anxiety and depression, to the point where I was like, I literally want to kill myself. I don't want to be here anymore. And guess what? That was my capacity with the spirit world and my capacity with demons. I don't have that anymore. That disappeared as soon as I started using the tools to talk to the entities and acknowledging that I was aware. So what if you guys are infinitely aware too? And not what if, you are. So, yeah, I guess we will leave it there for this free call. I hope it's been a contribution to you and it's sparked something in you to begin to recognize that there is something so much greater out there for you. There is so much more magic available to you if you're willing to receive and include. As Marketa said, we have Talk to the NT classes coming up around the world. I've got a few coming up, one in London. Marketa and I are doing one in Prague, Czech Republic, in August. And we also have a free 3-part series coming up in a month's time called Listening to the Whispers of Creation, which will be more about the how, because we can't really get to that on this call, about how to listen. Like, what is awareness? How does it show up? How to listen to the whispers of creation and then work with it to the bliss that you've always known is possible. So there are multiple choices if you guys desire anything more. And if not, we're just grateful that you are here anyway. And yeah. Oh, and I'm coming to Toronto, Kieran says, yeah. Amazing. Marketa, do you have anything else?
Just like, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, beautiful translators, for translating still, even though we are here over 1 hour. And also, it's like, really, would you be willing to receive the ease, the talk to, like, the world of entities can be for you instead of, you know, like the curse? So what if this is like the magic and ease you can actually receive from the world of entities? And also, like when you have body stuff, I used to have like really huge migraines, but it was not from the entities that didn't desire to contribute to me. It was because I had barriers so up that I couldn't receive the contribution from all these like nature spirits that used to play with me when I was a little kid. So since 5 years, when I was a little kid and I started to have 5 years, I started to put the barriers up, and I had terrible migraines and nobody knew what was going on. But it was like time when I stopped to play with them, I put the barriers up and they just couldn't play with me anymore. So like, also, it doesn't, like, when you have body stuff, it doesn't mean it's like entities that doesn't desire to contribute to you. It can be even those that desire to contribute to you, but you have barriers so up that they can't reach you. So like, be living here, and please ask yourself and like give it a try what the world of entities can be for you and what it desires to create with you and contribute to you, your beautiful sweet body, and your life.
And how much more of you is actually available on the other side. If you believe that there are parts and pieces of you that have been missing, or you've been searching for you your entire life, this is where I found me through Talk to the Entities, because I started including me and acknowledging the infinite being and spirit that I actually am. And through including them, that was the missing part and piece for me. And now I have me. So what if more of you is actually available on the other side of inclusion, whatever that is, whether you choose to Talk to the Entities class, whether you've done one, whether you just begin to acknowledge that they exist independent of your point of view. So I am so grateful for you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for literally changing the world by being here, because I know this has opened up an entire new space in the world. And I'm grateful for you all. And I hope to see you all in the world one day, if I haven't already.
Yay!
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.